What I aim for and what my why is I want people to not feel so alone. We always need that other person to hold a mirror up and say, hey, this is who you are, or this is a way that you can really kind of look inward.
Hi, I'm Clint Howell. This is Alexandra Chando.
Hi.
She is a talented actress, director, producer, all-around filmmaker, all-around creative. Very happy to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
I want to know what you're excited about right now. What have you been working on?
Oh, currently in the process of adapting a novel with a writer. I have a writer in LA that we meet up over Zoom every now and then, and he's writing it. I don't really write, but so I'm adapting a novel for my next feature, hopefully. And I have a project that I'm working on my own. That's a smaller project. It's very kind of a little passion project that is more comedy based, kind of in the vein of like a Curb Your Enthusiasm. So those are the two that I'm like mainly focused on right now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What initially drew you into the entertainment industry?
Oh boy. I mean, I started acting when I was really young. I started acting when I was about 7. My mom took me to see a show, Annie, and I was like floored. And so from there, I just kind of started doing community theater, and I started acting professionally when I was 13. I got a manager in New York City, started going back and forth. So I kind of just found my way into it. I got very lucky as a kid and kind of in my teenage years where I started working. I did my first TV pilot when I was 16. So for me, it was this weird thing where I was just acting. I didn't really realize, like I didn't know what it meant to like book a television pilot at 15, 16 years old. Like that was so lost on me. Now it's like a diamond in the rough. Like it's so hard. But yeah, so I've kind of found my way into it as a teenager, and then continued on into my adult years. So it was a little bit of a different kind of introduction for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So other than Annie, was there a specific person at the start of your career that inspired you?
I mean, I had a really incredible theater teacher in high school. His name was Mr. Smith, and he was a wonderful teacher. And just community theater, but also high school theater. We had a great program. That was super inspiring for me. But professionally, I worked with really great people when I was younger. I got to work with Amy Yazbek. She played my mom when I was 15, and that was incredible. So yeah, there was a few people throughout.
Was there a moment or memory in your career that when you look back on it, it makes you smile?
Oh, there's so many. I feel very fortunate. I mean, wow. I guess I would say I was on a soap opera for 2.5 years, and I started when I was 18 and in New York City, and that for me, I got to really experience a lot of things with my parents, which was really cool. Like I got to go to the daytime Emmys with my parents and experience that. But more recently, I directed a movie, and that was a big smile. That was a big smile moment. Yeah.
When you're not working in the entertainment industry, when you're not doing that side of you, what do you do to relax or just for general enjoyment?
I'm very healthy. I like to work out. I like to do Pilates. I like to spend time with friends. I love to read. I'm a big reader. I'll read a book in a sitting. I have a library card. That's where I get all my books. So yeah, but again, that's like also kind of part of work. It doesn't feel like it, but
sure.
Just constantly kind of feeding myself with stories and characters. It's kind of a subconscious way of doing it.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Just more storytelling. Kind of get different angles, visuals in your head.
Yep.
Have you been to the Austin Library downtown?
I have, yeah.
Beautiful place.
Yep.
I'd like to hear words of encouragement that you may have gotten early in your career that it still resonates with you, that you still maybe relate to?
Words of encouragement. I don't really know if this has to do with my career necessarily, but when I was growing up, my mom used to always say to me, never compromise yourself. And that sticks with me and has stuck with me through all facets of life. But I think specifically in my career, I think especially as an actor coming up as a young woman, there were moments that could have been very easy to compromise myself, and I chose not to. So that was a big one for sure.
So you've given us a little bit of background on how you initially got started in the entertainment industry. Your role as Maddie on As the World Turns, and then twins in the Lion Game. I mean, very soap operas are pretty demanding. I mean, you're shooting constantly because they're airing daily.
Yeah.
Very unique style of preparation. What about those roles, also twins, obviously, playing against yourself?
Yeah.
What about those prepared you for what you're doing as a director?
Oh, so much. So much. I mean, being on a soap opera is the best schooling you can have for being on a set. You learn how to find your light. You learn, marks. And I mean, it's a little different because they're editing in real time. So when the camera is on you because there's a red light. But you learn all of the technical aspects of being on a set. And so that was invaluable. And then playing twins, that's where I really kind of got bit by the directing bug, because I was on set, I had 16-hour days. I was on set in almost every single scene of every episode. And it was back then, it was a while ago, it was newer. Not a lot of people were doing kind of those twin roles. And we certainly didn't have the money. I think the Social Network did it with Armie Hammer when they did his face, but we didn't have the money for that. I mean, it was like ABC Family. So we did a lot of split screen, and we did some green screen, and that whole process, we would have a guest director come on, and oftentimes they weren't familiar with how to shoot it because we would have to lock off camera, and there was so many different things that we had to do in order to make sure we didn't cross the line.
Right.
And so for me, learning that at such a young age and having to work with the DP and the guest director to kind of educate the director, I learned so much. And I also was in a place where, because I was number one on the call sheet, I was really able to be cognizant of the crew and our time. And so I was always like, okay, how can we make our day? How can we block this scene so we get rid of one extra shot? So for me, those were pivotal things that made me want to be a director and made me think I could totally be a director, but also made me, prepared for all the work that I did, to come. Also, I met a lot of directors that I was able to then shadow, because I basically put myself through a small little TV film school because I shadowed over, 400 or 500 hours. And it was all of those directors on that show that allowed me to come to them on other shows and shadow them. So, yeah.
Is that how you were shadowing directors on The Gifted and Mistress?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
The Gifted was really special because it shot in Atlanta. I had a friend who his name is Blair. He was on The Lion Game with me. He was on The Gifted at the time. And I got to shadow the producing director on their finale. So I mean, from start to finish, prep to post, I got to be in every meeting, and that to me was invaluable.
We're talking about the challenges of being on screen with yourself at the same time. I've seen some behind the scenes on The Parent Trap and how they did some of that. And technology has shifted quite a bit. So there's things like, with the motion control robot that you can get and do some multiplicity, opportunities because it's a repeatable shot. And how do you feel about the new technologies that are coming on that are available to you? How, as a director, do you think about any of those new tools that to help you with the story?
For sure. I mean, I think I still have a lot to learn about these new tools, and I'm really excited to kind of dive into that and have the opportunity to work with them. But I think, I think there are so many benefits to these tools to help tell the story and make our days faster and make it easier. I mean, but I am also such a traditionalist, and I'm like, I like a camera, like a point and shoot camera.
You've been continuously creative. You've been involved in a lot of different types of storytelling, entertainment across many different mediums. You were an original person as part of the Mammoth Film Festival and getting that off the ground and getting the content and interacting with such an amazing array of filmmakers and storytellers. What has that been like for your career, and specifically in as you approach directing and being able to see, meet, your people that are doing the thing that you're doing, your peers, and how has that maybe formed you further, more well-rounded you as a director?
I think in many ways, I started that festival with the guys, and it was like 9 years ago, and I think it's built a network for me, just on a general note.
Oh, yeah.
The people that I got to meet and kind of the platform that I had in order to send an email saying, hi, I'm the festival manager of Mammoth Film Festival. That was really special. I met Suzanne Weiner, who wrote my feature, The Eighth Day, at Mammoth Film Festival. So I think one of the things that I was the most proud of with that festival is the community of filmmakers that we built. For emerging filmmakers to meet people and have the accessibility, but also for myself. I mean, I made a bunch of projects with Suzanne and some other people who I had met through the festival. And so I think, it's definitely, I mean, I wouldn't have a feature under my belt if I didn't have the festival. So I think in that regard, it's kind of put me on a very different path, but also on the back end of things, seeing, or kind of the behind the scenes, just learning about distribution and learning about all of those aspects of the entertainment industry that I maybe knew but wasn't fully privy to. Yeah. So it was, again, I keep saying invaluable, but it's invaluable.
No, it's an incredible gift.
Yeah.
And great opportunity. I can only imagine what kind of relationships you've formed through that. I see how it's carried over into the feature. During this time, you're heavily involved with your Her Voice, and you're having these real meaningful conversations, off-the-cuff interviews. Learning about different filmmakers and their approach and their trials and tribulations and challenges and the things that they've done to get to where they are. That must have been another incredible forum for you to develop yourself.
Oh yeah, I loved doing the podcast. We did that podcast, and again, it afforded me the opportunity to email. Mostly, we had men as well, but these women who were, running like Fuzzy Door Entertainment, like Seth MacFarlane's company, and just to have these conversations. And I feel like it was an inspiration for me to learn the path that these women took in order to kind of get where they are. But it also it made me a better conversationalist, quite honestly.
Sure.
Because and a better listener, because you really just have to be very present
Yeah.
when you're having these conversations. So yeah, that was a really special time, and unfortunately, we kind of ended it short because we started it during COVID, and it was just kind of tough to get it up and running. But those conversations that I had, they were definitely some of the more cherished conversations that I've had in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that time in the world, it looked like you were on your maybe 9th episode or so. It was live from Mammoth Film Festival, and it dropped on March 13th. That I looked at least on.
Wow.
Yeah, which was, I think that evening was when we found out that we weren't going back to work the next Friday.
Yes.
And it was just, I thought that was interesting. And then you maintained 2 a month, at least on Apple Podcast, after that, which, I mean, that's got to be one. You had to be pleased that you still had this opportunity to do things creatively, because a lot of people had to pivot or didn't know really which way they were going to turn, and stay creative in a time that was very, 2020 was just very what's going to happen now. And I know in the entertainment industry they were working to find protocols and processes to keep people safe and still be able to create content. What was that period of time like for you transitionally?
Well, I think to answer the first part, having the podcast was really great because the unfortunate part was we couldn't be in studio for the majority of it, which was a huge bummer because obviously, person to person, it makes such a difference. But it did allow us to have such a broader network because we were interviewing women in New York or all over the country. And because people were stuck at home, they were like so willing. They were like, yeah, we're sure I'll come and talk to you for an hour. So I think we got a lot of people that maybe we wouldn't have gotten in person. So that was really cool. But for me, I creatively, again, I devoured books. I was just reading like crazy. That's when I first got my library card because I kept buying books and I would read them in a day and I'd be like, this is a waste of money. Like I'm spending so much money on these books. So finally I went and I got a library card, but I would read a lot. And for me, it was more kind of intake than output. Like I would paint a little bit, like I color and I like watercolor paint in the lines, like in a coloring book. But yeah, it was more just kind of intake than output for me.
Well, yeah, you got to feed it too.
Yeah, of course.
Good opportunity. No, well, I won't say that.
I know what you mean.
It was a unique opportunity to be able to kind of recenter yourself as a human, I think.
Well, and I think also as artists and being in LA and the financial strain and all of that, I think there was something about that time where I kind of felt like I could breathe a little bit because I just felt like a lot of the pressure was off in a lot of ways, socially, and it's like I didn't have to go out. But I think just as an artist, it kind of just took the pressure off a little bit for a few months,
Sure.
which was a welcome kind of relief.
Yeah, agreed. So you worked on a variety of different types of projects. Turning back around, the connections that you made through your web series, your involvement with the Mammoth Film Festival, created this opportunity for the 8th Day. Who approached who?
Suzanne approached me. She knew so the first year of Mammoth, I showed my very first short film called LPM. Suzanne saw it and was like, I'm so inspired. I've never directed before. I really want to direct. Would you produce my first short? And I said, yes. So I produced her short. And then she wrote something else that she wanted me to act in. So we've been doing this back and forth thing for years now. And when I first moved to Austin from LA, she had called me and she said, I know you're looking for something. and I've had this script that's just kind of been on the shelf, and I want you to read it, and if you like it, let's make it. And I was like, okay. And so first I was like, please God, let me like it.
Yeah.
For many reasons,
Of course, you want it.
But it's also like, when you read somebody's script, you're like, oh God, I hope it's good. And so I loved it, and I was like, oh, I could really see myself doing something fun with this. And that was it. I mean, from the time we had that conversation, I think to the time we were on set, it was like 2 years. And yeah, so it was pretty quick.
It was very beautifully done.
Thank you.
So how did your experience in the short film translate to feature length?
I think for me, the biggest thing was it was kind of twofold for me. Like the two things that I always had on my mind were, because I came from TV, I really understand the pace, and so being on set and shooting a feature in 18 and a half days, I was like, this is great, like easy, because I'm so used to the pace. I shot a TV pilot. It was a 20-page pilot, and we shot it in 3 days for $12,000. NSFW. That was 3 days, $12,000.
Wow.
But I had my same DP, Cameron Duncan, who comes from TV.
Yeah.
And I knew when I did my first feature, I really wanted him by my side. And so I think that really kind of prepped me. I mean, we were working on this for months and months and months over Zoom before we even went into pre-production. I mean, Cameron and I were just like so locked in. But I think the other thing for me, though, that was really big, and for Cameron as well, because Cameron's DP'd features, but he's a TV cinematographer for the most part. We kept saying, like, we just don't want it to look like a TV show. Like, we want it to be cinematic, so we weren't doing like traditional coverage. That was my poor script supervisor. He would be like, and he was a little newer, so he was kind of green anyway. But he would come up to me and he would be like, "So you didn't get her cover it?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "We're not covering it like normal. We got it. We're good." But for us, that was like such a thing. Like we wanted it to not feel like a TV show. So I think that was always in my mind.
I will say it worked. I was very impressed of your collaboration with your DP, Cameron. Your shot framing was gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I had to kind of stop and just recognize what I was seeing there, which was how you had your characters in frame, in the distance, pulling your focus through scenes, landing on another, setup just with a pivot. Really, really well done. I had to dive in and find out, who you were working with, and it was fun to explore him as well. Yeah,
I had such an incredible time breaking down the script and shot listing. I mean, I was so specific with things, and I think for me I broke down the script as an actor as well. So I was always thinking about the emotionality and how we wanted to make the audience feel. And so I would kind of talk to Cameron about that and say, okay, well, this is how I want us to feel. This is how I want this character to always kind of feel isolated and boxed in. And, so we always kind of, we tracked every character and had kind of a little bit of a loose style for every character. For Phoebe Tonkin's character, we were always on sticks because it was smoother and kind of dreamier. And then for the guys, we were always handheld. So it was just this very just little things that I started with the characters and how I wanted to kind of always have them framed. And then we just built and built and built from there.
It's good. For me, it created a consistency for each of them. And it felt like a fluid journey as far as following those characters. Great characters, great actors, by the way.
Great actors.
You were able to.
I got very lucky.
Yeah, lucky? Tell me how that.
Well, I just think I think Well, I don't want to. No, I just discredited myself. I don't want to do that. I say I got lucky because I did get very lucky with for my first feature to have these actors really kind of trust me and take a chance. I think that's the hardest part, regardless of my experience or any first feature director's experience. It's always a little bit. There could be a hesitation from actors because they want to be in good hands. Right. But I think because I'm an actor, they felt very much like they were in good hands because they knew I understood all of that. So that was quite easy. But yeah, I was very grateful to have the cast that I did. Because again, it made our shoot days so smooth.
For sure. What were some of the biggest challenges that you had in the production while filming?
Thunderstorms.
You shot that in New Mexico?
We shot it in New Mexico. Our first day, we had to hold for 2 hours for a thunderstorm, and then we were on a road, just the middle of a road, for 6 hours sitting in a camera truck, and we lost 6 hours of our day. I think we were supposed to be 18 days, and I think we ended up being 19 days because fortunately we were able to add a day, budget-wise and everything, because we fully lost a day to thunderstorms. You don't have cover shoots on those types of movies. Or cover sets. So that was a challenge for sure. Because then what would happen is we shot in Santa Rosa for 5 days, and when we scouted it, it was blue and sunny and gorgeous, and the water was clear. The opening shot of Jeremiah and Elvis at the car, where Elvis is like, "Where the hell are we?"
Yeah.
That river was crystal blue. We show up the day to shoot it, and it is brown, and everything is just like muddy and gross. And I was slightly heartbroken because I knew it was like the first shot of the movie. But you just kind of have to go with it. But again, because we were so prepared, it was just like, all right, well, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the framing was very nice, so it's kind of hard. I think I got this already, which was like how working with that cast influenced your directing style in the project, but maybe not as much as that, since you had such talented actors, have done a lot of great work, and them having to play off each other. What was unique about that, working with actors of that level of competency?
I think the conversations that we had prior to made it so it was a smoother ride, and they were all willing to do that, and they were all willing to sit on a Zoom with me individually and really dive into the character, which was fun for both of us. So I think in that regard, they were just very willing and very excited about the work. And then on the day, they all were so different in the way that they liked to receive notes, how they were on set. So for me, that was kind of a fun challenge to figure out, like, okay, how do I deliver notes to this person versus this person? And I was very fortunate. I got to work with Valerie Mahaffey, who recently passed, and it was her last feature. And she is somebody, I believe she was 72 when we worked together, maybe 70. And she's one of the most incredible character actors that you will ever meet. And she's an old school actress. And so that was really interesting because I have, Darren Mann, who's just like, up for anything, whatever, I'm cool, like whatever you need. And then Valerie was very particular because she's just been in this industry for so long, and I think had also been through a lot, especially starting as a young woman back when she did, and kind of the politics of things and how women were treated on set. And I think a lot of that really stuck with her. And so for me, that was a really, it was a really kind of beautiful opportunity to be able to navigate that with her, and also kind of have to, as a director, figure out the best way to get what I need out of her. Because it wasn't always just like, she's down, you know, because she's such a classically kind of trained actor. So that was really interesting for me to be like, okay, how am I going to approach this now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you had experience with like non-actors on screen and having to direct them?
Yeah. It's tough. In our movie, we had a non-actor child, which is a double whammy. So that was challenging. I think, yeah, I definitely, there's a different way to approach it for sure. Kind of get more on the level of just like humanity, and not that an actor shouldn't be on that level too, but there's just a different way to approach it, and different kind of tools that you can use to pull it out of people, I guess. But yeah, the kids thing is tough. It's fun when I think it's very fun when they're into it. It's very hard when they're shy and not an actor. And that's what I was dealing with. A very shy boy who like totally clammed up.
Yeah, it's hard to work around that.
Yeah.
Were there any moments or scenes that you're most proud of in the movie? If you had to pick a portion of the movie to show someone and saying this is my favorite part. I really like where it starts to, kind of at the beginning of the third act, where it really starts to ramp up after the heist. Everybody's moving in different directions.
Everybody's moving. Our score was incredible. I've used the same composer for all of my projects. They're Chase and Ryan. They're called Chromosomes, but they created this like incredible score that really just kind of builds those moments. You know, with Eve and Elvis fighting the cop and on the road, and I really love how that was edited and kind of put together. But I'm like, I've seen the movie so many times, but I'm also like, I can't remember anything.
I was surprised you found that many phone books in existence.
Oh my gosh. We had we got very lucky with our production designer, Kevin Pierce. He was in New Mexico. We shot during the writer's strike. So a lot of crew in New Mexico was available, and so they were on my movie. And so we had some really top-notch people, which also helped make the shoot go much more smooth.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you want to direct commercials?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the background that you have in daytime television has prepared you to really work on tight timelines for shorts, and then going into a feature where you shot it in 19 days with one, with that 18 days with one contingency day, right? And you know how to like get the shots and figure out how to plan what you need to do to get the content that you need in order to make the thing. First, what drew you to this format in the first place?
I've always been kind of interested and intrigued by people who can tell stories or affect emotion in a very, very short amount of time. And I don't know. I've done it in 8 minutes. My first short was 8 minutes. I feel like I accomplished some sort of emotional connection there. But to do it in 30 seconds. I mean, I've watched commercials where I got choked up.
Oh yeah.
So I think that in and of itself is such an art form that I'm really interested in exploring. And I also think too, commercials nowadays do feel more narrative. They feel more like they want to connect with their audiences as opposed to just selling a product. And so that obviously is something that I feel like is in my wheelhouse.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Process, preparation. How do you prepare for your shoot days?
Like a crazy person. I am like an over preparer, but it benefits me. I mean, it definitely has never failed me. I guess it just depends what it is, but I mean, are we talking, I guess for the, like, what are we, it's a little,
I
guess
think
it's
personal preparation, mentally.
Mentally?
Physically as well. It's demanding.
Do a lot of push-ups. Aside from like the technical stuff, like the shot listing and the, reading the script or reading whatever I'm doing over and over again and just being so familiar with everything. I think the stamina thing is a big thing. I think especially, that was one of my bigger fears, honestly, when I was going to direct my movie. I was like, am I going to have the stamina for this? And I did, and it was fine. But I think that was something that, out of all the things, that was my biggest concern, that I was just going to be wrecked. So I think for me, it's like getting a good night's sleep and like all of those kind of basic things prepare me. But then, of course, like the first night of a shoot, like you don't sleep well. So you're just like, ah. So yeah, I don't know.
That makes sense. The world of creativity is ever shifting. Whether it has to do with new tools that are that we have access to that can help us create in different, unique ways, or technologies that allow us to continually roll for 45 minutes straight and not have to think about the cost of the film that's going through. Although film is still extremely beautiful. How do you feel about some of these new technologies in like artificial intelligence and content creation, outside of like kicking out scripts and summaries and things like that, but actually making narrative?
Yeah, I knew this question was going to come. I think that there's a place for a lot of it. I mean, I think there's new AI technology to help clean up sound, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Love
like
it.
I shot a scene in a pool on the side of a highway in New Mexico, and they cleaned it up so beautifully. It was like, but they used AI
Agreed.
to clean it. So there's things like that where I'm like, well, of course. I have a very hard time, and I think it hits me kind of in two regards because I am an actor. I have a very hard time with all the new stuff that's coming out where it's like a full thing, and you, well, what is it, VEO3 or the new whatever one that is? I don't know.
You just taught me.
But people are sending me videos, and it's like you couldn't even tell. And granted, they're shorts and they're smaller things, and I think I will forever stand by when you are on a set and you are creating something. There are so many beautiful, happy accidents that happen and so many small miracles that happen that add to the story or add to the shot or add to, it's like just little things that kind of build up to create a beautiful moment that you don't have or you won't have with AI. but yeah, I'm scared. Like, it's scary. It's a scary thing because it's all facets, not just the entertainment industry. So it's, I think to use it to make things easier on a time level or those types of things, I feel like, to me, I'm fine with, but to like fully take over and do everything is like not okay. Yeah. No. But even I was in this class, I was taking a class through Austin Film Society, and there were younger generation kids in the class. And this kid kept talking about like using AI to break down his scripts and to like find the props and to do all this. And I looked at him and I was like, that's the most fun part. Like to read the script and to break it down and imagine what prop that is and what color shirt that should be. And like what, like it's such a, when you're using it in that regard, it's like, no, you're just lazy. Mm-hmm. That's part of the love and like the joy of being a filmmaker. Yeah,
it's one of the best parts of it.
Yes. I love getting all my like markers and my highlighters and my little tab things, and I'm like
get the whiteboard going with all your notes on it.
That's the best part.
Yeah, it's organic. And it's organic in preparation, it's organic in the moment. That human element that's unpredictable in so many different ways that just wasn't what maybe you had nailed down or intended on, or in this case provided inputs for, that happy accident.
Yeah.
How does your experience with filmmaking and advocacy influence your overall approach? In the sense of what kind of things you might want to work for, brand-wise, message-wise, in the short form of the commercial space, whether it's on TV or it's something that gets served to you, to the viewer, in the way that they're used to having it. What kind of messaging or products would you want to get behind?
Oh boy. This is a question I wish I had prior.
I just made that one up.
Great. I think,
let me ask it a different way.
Okay.
As a partner with you creatively, as an organization that is excited to make content with you and see you bring an idea, breathe life into a product and through the lens. What would you want us to go after or introduce you to, and what would be well, let's call it your hit list. What would be your hit list of targets that you would want us to try to suss out?
It was the same question, just in a different way.
That's right. I can say that I really want to find that heart, that storytelling, how a product has changed lives, how this is bettering a community, or how this is making people feel good about themselves.
Yeah, or bringing fulfillment or something new or special into their lives, or bringing them closer to family, or bringing them closer to, I think overall my work, like what I aim for and what kind of my why is I want people to not feel so alone. But I also think that a lot of the work that I'm drawn to is to hold the mirror up to ourselves, to the audience, to society, because we really need that in friendships, we need that in relationships. We always kind of need that other person to hold a mirror up and say, hey, this is this is who you are, or this is what, I see, and this is, a way that you can really kind of look inward. And so I feel like I'm drawn to a lot of work that provides that mirror or creates that space to let somebody kind of look inward and explore that part of themselves.
Yeah, the message is speaking to them as an individual.
Right.
And understanding.
Yeah, and it could just be like a character, maybe not even the whole story, but just like there's something specific about a character that makes somebody go, ooh, I've been there. Ooh, that makes me feel uncomfortable a little bit. Yeah, so I think, and I don't know, I guess I don't know how that translates into like what products I would like to. I think it's more just like what a feeling.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tampons. the chick answer. Tampons.
We've talked about this one, so I'm not going to go past that. It's just fast-paced production environments in general. We really got into that one. Looking ahead, what are your goals in transitioning into the commercial format, this new, as part of your repertoire?
I think the biggest thing for me is having the opportunity to work on multiple projects and more projects than like one a year.
Yeah.
And so that leads to and lends itself to more storytelling and more opportunity to tell a story, as opposed to developing something for 2 years and then shooting it for a year and post for a year, and so
Yeah.
for me that's what really draws me to it.
Same.
Yeah.
What is one risk that you're excited to take in an upcoming project?
I want to learn how to use the new tools. I think that's like a risk I would want to take. That interests me, and I think it's something that I need to learn. And I've never had the opportunity to do that in my work, so that's something for sure.
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing what kind of technology that you've seen be used that you haven't used, or that you'd like to get it. I talked to a few director of photographers that really want to learn, like the robot, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, what is its capabilities? What is its limitations? If I knew that, then I might not just, set back and say I can do this with like a techno crane.
Right. Yep. Same. And for me, I'm such a I like kind of putting myself through that schooling. So I'm on the same page with that.
Always learning.
Yeah.
Looking back on your journey thus far, what are some lessons that you've taken away that you can share with us?
Okay. More of a kind of existential lesson that took a really long time for me to learn, and I'm still learning it, is to not put my self-worth into my career or my success as an actor or a director. I think when you start acting at such a young age, it becomes your identity. And I think it's very hard to not have those lines blur, especially when you're working and you're on a TV show and you kind of, the line of like self-worth gets a little blurry. It's like, especially when you're in LA, it's like, I'm only worth something if I'm working. And that's a really, really tough narrative to break out of when you are in it for so long. So that for me was a really big one. And like I said, I'm still learning it. I'm very proud of myself for like getting to this place of really genuinely feeling like I've left that narrative behind. I think moving to Austin was a really big thing that kind of cured me and healed me of that thinking and that mindset. And then on a more technical level, just the preparedness, like just being prepared. I think it started for me because I always felt like I had to prove that I was capable, and I think, not to make it about like women, men, but I think sometimes when a woman walks onto a set, especially a young woman who's like directing, you really want to know your stuff, and you really don't want people to kind of second guess you, and that's in your mind. And so that for me, but then I also think the wonderful directors that I had the opportunity to shadow, everything that I took from them, the biggest thing was just how they prepared. And so that has saved me and made me a better director. And so that is the biggest thing for me, yeah.
Yeah,
Just being prepared.
Goes back to you shadowing and you having these meaningful conversations, and the things you're taking away and picking up and applying.
Yeah. I also think too, just like kindness.
Yeah. Goes a long way.
Goes such a long way. I think being on a set that everybody gets along and everybody's respected for what they do and what they're bringing to the table, that just makes all the difference in the world.
For sure. What advice would you give a aspiring filmmaker that might be watching this?
Go do something else. Go be a doctor. I think that the advice that I would have would be, well, one is resilience. You have to have resilience if you want to be in this industry, and also the passion for it, and really, really understand and know your why, and like why you kind of show up every day for yourself and for other people on a set, because there are going to be those moments where like you're not working for sometimes years, and you have to, you either hang in there or you don't. But it's all the resilience and kind of that passion is what kind of keeps you in there. But then also, I think remaining open. I think for me, for a really long time, I kind of had blinders on, just like I was an actor, like that was it. And I think it was a little different because people weren't really being pushed to be like the multifaceted, you have to be a director, you have to be a writer. It was just kind of like you stayed in your lane. But now I think it's even like tenfold, where now everybody can do all the things, but now there's also all this technology and there's all this other types of media. So I think for someone just starting out, it's like really kind of understanding and getting a grasp of like what the other avenues are, and that you don't have to kind of be in that like Hollywood machine. And kind of go the traditional route. There are so many other ways. And I'm trying to teach that to myself. But again, it's like unlearning a lot of programming from being in the Hollywood machine for as long as I was, which I also think is what excites me about this and commercial work. And because it feels like, again, like just these little moments of different types of media.
Yeah. As you look forward in this new phase of your career, what are you most excited about?
I'm excited about, I think I'm the most excited about the opportunity to direct more. I feel very in my purpose and in my passion when I'm directing. And I also am excited about challenging my own, challenging my own way of thinking and way of operating. I think, we had a really tough few years in our industry, and it's still we're still kind of trying to claw our way back. And that was very challenging financially and for many reasons. But I think on the silver lining of that, for me anyway, was like it really allowed me to get quiet and really look at what it is that I want to do from here on out, and how I can, like I was saying before, kind of break out of that traditional way of thinking and find new ways to tell stories. And I think for me, that's exciting, whether it is, you know, a 1-minute episode on Instagram, or, you know, just things like that that are not something that I would normally do. And I think too, part of the challenge for me that I'm excited about and that I'm finding myself breaking free of is I can be very precious about, especially my work as a director. And I think there's something that's happening now because of the shorter, you know, length of content, or just the different ways to put content out, that there's something that strips away that preciousness. And I think I'm really excited to explore that and give myself the grace of like not being so precious about things.
Well said.
Thanks.
Lastly, is there anything that you haven't shared, either about you personally, your vision, your journey, that you want to tell the people about?
I feel like I covered a lot of it. I mean, I just think I'm really excited to start. This really does feel like a new chapter for me, and I'm really excited to kind of step into that and see what unfolds, and give myself the space to even not fail, but to just kind of make mistakes, or not, you know, put something out that I'm like anticipating an Oscar for, you know, which I never am. That's the funny thing about me. I'm like, I don't care. I don't need an award. It's not why I do it. But I think, I'm excited for this new kind of shift in things, and I'm hopeful.
We are also excited about this next chapter.
Yeah.
And we are very hopeful as well for the opportunities that are sure to come.
Yes.
And our opportunity to collaborate with you and make great storytelling and memories.
Yes, I'm so
Content.
excited.
Me too.
I can't wait.
Alex, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for showing up.
Yeah.
This is ProFor at the Beauty.